My name is Garrett Boone. I'm 50 years old, and my wife Colleen and I run a 180-acre sheep and cattle operation on land that's been in my family for 3 generations, ground my great-grandfather homesteaded long before anyone had ever heard of Willowbrook Estates, the subdivision that got built directly against our southern property line about 12 years ago. For most of those 12 years, we coexisted with our new neighbors without much trouble. There were the usual minor grumbles you'd expect, a complaint here or there about a rooster crowing too early, nothing that ever amounted to much of anything. Then 6 years ago, during a spring thunderstorm that knocked down a section of our perimeter fence, 3 of our bulls got loose and wandered onto Willowbrook Estates property before we managed to round them up a few hours later. One of those bulls, in the confusion, trampled through a prize rose garden belonging to a woman named Denise Holloway, destroying what she later told anyone who'd listen was 15 years of careful cultivation. Roses she'd bred and grown from cuttings her own grandmother had given her decades earlier. I want to be clear that I understood her anger at the time, and still do. I went over that same afternoon, apologized sincerely, paid for the full replacement cost of every plant she lost, and repaired the fence within days to make sure nothing like that ever happened again. In 6 years since, not a single animal from our farm has ever again set foot on Willowbrook Estates property. I genuinely believed for a long time that the matter had been settled fairly and completely. Denise Holloway never let it go. 2 years ago, she ran for and won the presidency of the Willowbrook Estates Homeowners Association, and almost immediately, my farm became the central focus of what I can only describe, looking back with the full picture I have now, as a sustained campaign to make our operation impossible to continue. It started with letters citing vague nuisance concerns, noise, smell, the general presence of livestock near a residential community, even though our animals had been grazing that same ground for decades before Willowbrook Estates was ever built. Then came a formal complaint alleging our perimeter fencing posed an ongoing safety risk to community children, despite the fact that our fence lines sat entirely on our own property, well clear of any HOA common area, and had contained our herd successfully for 6 straight years, since the one incident that started all of this. 8 months ago, the letters escalated into something much more serious. Denise, now firmly entrenched as HOA president, sent formal notice that Willowbrook Estates intended to pursue a court injunction demanding either the complete removal of our livestock from the property or the installation of what her letter described as a certified containment system exceeding current fencing standards, giving me 60 days to comply before the association would begin pursuing fines of $1,000 a day and simultaneously filing for emergency injunctive relief in county court. I called Nathaniel Cruz, an agricultural and property attorney a fellow rancher had recommended to me years earlier, and laid out the entire situation. He reviewed the 6 years of clean operating history, the original incident and full restitution I'd already paid Denise for it, and the complete absence of any legitimate ongoing safety concern, and told me plainly that Willowbrook Estates had no actual legal authority to force livestock removal from land that predated their subdivision by generations, and that their claimed authority to impose fencing standards on our property was, at best, legally questionable given our farm sat entirely outside their platted jurisdiction. But Nathaniel also told me something practical that stuck with me. Fighting a baseless legal threat in court still costs real money and real time, even when you're almost certainly going to win eventually, and sometimes the smartest move available is to simply remove every possible legitimate complaint from the equation entirely, so that whatever case they try to bring collapses on its own weight before it ever really gets going. So instead of fighting the fencing demand on principle alone, I decided to exceed it completely. I hired a professional agricultural fencing company to install a full perimeter electric containment system along our entire boundary line, certified well beyond any standard Denise's letter had even attempted to define, energized, properly grounded, clearly marked with warning signage at regulation intervals. the kind of system large commercial operations use specifically because it eliminates any realistic possibility of livestock escape. I also had security cameras installed along the full perimeter, partly for the practical purpose of monitoring the new system, and partly, if I'm honest, because 2 years of escalating harassment had made me want documentation of literally everything happening on that boundary line going forward. The fence went up over 3 weeks, cost me just under $40,000 I hadn't planned on spending, and by any reasonable measure, completely eliminated whatever legitimate safety concern anyone could have claimed to have about our operation. I sent Denise and the full HOA board written notice, with photographs and the fencing company's certification documents, confirming full compliance with every specific requirement her original letter had outlined. Her response came back within a week, and it told me everything I needed to know about what this had actually been about the entire time. Rather than acknowledging compliance, her letter pivoted entirely, now claiming the electric fence itself constituted a new and even more serious safety hazard, a dangerous attractive nuisance to children who might wander near it, and announcing that Willowbrook Estates would proceed with the injunction regardless, now seeking removal of the electric fence itself, in addition to the original livestock demand. Nathaniel wasn't surprised when I called him. "This confirms what I suspected from the beginning," he told me. "This was never actually about safety standards, Garrett. Whatever standard you meet, they're going to find a reason to claim it's not enough, because the actual goal was never compliance. It was making your operation difficult enough to sustain that you'd eventually just give up and sell." The injunction hearing was scheduled for 6 weeks out. In the meantime, I kept documenting everything, every letter, every complaint, every escalating demand, building a record that was starting to look less like a legitimate safety dispute and more like exactly what Nathaniel suspected, a campaign rooted in something far more personal than fence height standards. 3 weeks before that hearing was set to happen, our perimeter cameras caught something at just past 2 in the morning that changed the entire direction of this fight. The footage showed Denise Holloway, unmistakably, climbing over a low section of our property line fence roughly a quarter mile from our house, walking directly to a segment of the new electric containment system and kneeling down beside it with a pair of long-handled cable cutters in her hands. I watched that footage at 6 in the morning, coffee going cold in my hand, replaying it 3 times to make absolutely sure I was seeing what I thought I was seeing. Denise Holloway, kneeling in the dark beside our new perimeter fence, cable cutters positioned against one of the lower wire strands, clearly attempting to cut through the containment system I'd spent $40,000 installing specifically to eliminate any legitimate complaint she might have had. The footage showed her make contact with the wire before she'd finished the cut, her body jerking backward from the shock, cutters falling to the ground, and her sitting there in the grass for almost a full minute before finally getting back up, rubbing her hand, and climbing back over the fence line the way she'd come, leaving the cutters behind in the grass where they'd fallen. I called Nathaniel Cruz the moment his office opened, sent him the footage immediately, and he was at my kitchen table within the hour, watching it with an expression that shifted from professional focus into something close to genuine surprise about halfway through. "Garrett," he said, "I need you to understand exactly what we're looking at here. This isn't just evidence that undermines her injunction case. This is video evidence of criminal trespass and attempted property destruction, committed by the sitting president of the HOA that's been building a legal case against you, 3 weeks before that case was set to go in front of a judge. I want to file a police report on this immediately, and I want to preserve this footage under proper chain of custody before we do anything else with it." We filed the police report that same morning. A deputy named Alonso came out, reviewed the footage, photographed the cable cutters still sitting in the grass where Denise had left them, and confirmed that trespass and attempted criminal mischief charges were being forwarded to the county attorney's office for review. What happened 4 days later, though, is the part of this story that still makes me shake my head every time I tell it. Denise Holloway filed a personal injury lawsuit against me, claiming that our electric fence had caused her serious and ongoing injury while she was, according to her filing, simply out for an evening walk near the property line and had accidentally brushed against an improperly grounded, dangerously defective fence that posed exactly the safety hazard her HOA had been warning about all along. She never mentioned the cable cutters. She never mentioned climbing over our property line in the middle of the night. Her filing described a peaceful evening stroll interrupted by a negligently maintained electric fence, and for about 4 days, before Nathaniel formally responded with our own filing, I genuinely worried about how convincing that story might sound to a judge who hadn't seen what I'd already watched happen on that footage a dozen times by then. Nathaniel's response included the full security footage, time-stamped, unedited, showing Denise Holloway trespassing onto our property at 2 in the morning with cable cutters in hand, attempting to sabotage a certified containment system and receiving a shock entirely as a direct result of her own attempted vandalism rather than any accidental evening walk anywhere near our property line. He also included the police report, the recovered cable cutters with her fingerprints later confirmed on them by county forensics, and once discovery formally opened in the case, 2 years of HOA correspondence that, laid out chronologically alongside board meeting minutes Nathaniel subpoenaed, revealed something Denise had apparently never expected anyone to look at closely enough to notice. Buried in those board minutes was a proposal raised by Denise herself roughly 14 months before any of this began, to explore what she called community green space expansion opportunities along Willowbrook Estates' southern boundary, our farm's boundary, including a preliminary discussion about whether the association might eventually pursue acquiring adjacent farmland to develop what she described in her own handwritten notes as a proper community rose garden and botanical walking trail, the kind of legacy amenity this neighborhood deserves. A proper community rose garden. 14 months before the fencing demands started, before the injunction threats, before any of it, Denise Holloway had been quietly proposing that Willowbrook Estates find a way to acquire part of the exact farmland she'd later spend 2 years trying to make legally impossible for me to keep operating. Nathaniel built our countersuit around all of it: trespass, attempted property destruction, malicious prosecution and abuse of process, given the timing and content of her personal injury lawsuit filed with clear knowledge, given her own presence at that fence line, that her account of events was false, and a broader claim of tortious interference connected to the 2-year campaign of escalating, ultimately baseless demands that Nathaniel argued, successfully, had been rooted not in any legitimate safety concern, but in Denise's own long-standing personal grudge and her documented interest in eventually acquiring our land for an entirely unrelated community project. The hearing took place 5 months later in front of Judge Priscilla Hartman, in a courtroom that filled up considerably once word spread through Willowbrook Estates about what their HOA president had actually been caught doing at 2 in the morning with a pair of cable cutters. Board member named Whit Sorensen, who'd quietly voted against several of Denise's more aggressive proposals over the preceding 2 years without ever fully understanding the motive behind them, testified about the Rose Garden proposal and the pattern of escalating demands he'd watched Denise push through the board with increasing urgency once each of my compliance efforts, including the electric fence itself, had failed to give her the outcome she was actually after. Judge Hartman dismissed Denise's personal injury claim outright once the security footage and forensic evidence on the cable cutters were entered into the record, finding her account of events had been knowingly false. She ruled decisively in our favor on the countersuit, finding clear evidence of trespass, attempted property destruction, and a sustained pattern of bad faith harassment rooted in a personal and financial motive that had never been disclosed to the broader HOA membership she claimed to be protecting. The judgment awarded us damages covering the full 2 years of legal costs, compensation for the harassment and business disruption Denise's campaign had caused, and punitive damages significant enough, once the final number came down, that Nathaniel actually let out a low whistle reading it back to me over the phone. Denise Holloway was removed from the HOA board within days of the ruling becoming public, faced separate criminal proceedings for the trespass and attempted vandalism charges that resulted in a conviction and probation, and based on what a few neighbors have quietly told me since, sold her house in Willowbrook Estates less than a year later and moved out of the county entirely. I still have that electric fence up along our full perimeter, still working exactly the way it was designed to, keeping our herds safely contained the same way it has since the day we installed it. Some mornings, walking that fence line with Colleen the way we do most weekends, I think about how close 2 years of quiet, patient harassment came to genuinely wearing us down before it ever occurred to Denise Holloway that trying to sabotage the very fence she'd forced us to install might be the single worst decision of the entire campaign. She wanted a rose garden badly enough to spend 2 years trying to manufacture a reason to take our land for it. Instead, she got a felony record, a judgment large enough to make headlines around here for months, and a fence line that's held every single day since, exactly the way it was always going to. Thumbnail text, she sabotaged my fence, court made her pay.